Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Gardens, the Untold Story with host, the Invisible Gardener, Andy Lopez, and myself, Ken Somerville. I guess the talking head, because, you know, when you think about it, Andy, I've been just talking and talking and talking. So, yeah, and I'm hiding behind the screen on most of this stuff. So, yeah. But anyway, Andy, you had a special request from a couple of your customers to do a show on regenerative gardening. So I know you got some slides. I don't know. You want to talk for a minute before we go into the slides, or you want to go right into the slides?
Well, it's really there. So what I want to do is I want to tell the people there are three different things I want to talk to you about today: sustainable agriculture, permaculture, and biodynamic farming. And I want to help show people how they relate to each other, right? Because there's one thing they haven't. There's a bunch of things, but there's one thing they really have in common, and you know what that is. So let's go ahead and you go ahead, bring up the screen, and we'll just take it from there. So I'm hoping everybody can read this. Can you? So it may be too small for you, but it looks like it's a nice big screen, I think, right?
I hope everybody can, because yeah, on the back end, my screen is really small, but on theirs, unless they're on a cell phone, they should be able to read what's on the screen.
Okay, so it says sustainable agriculture, permaculture, biodynamic. What they are, how they are the same, and how they are different. It took me about 2 minutes to get this show together, right? Who's there? Who's there? Hi, Mad Dog. Who's that? JB. Hi, all. Is that GB? What's GB, man?
Great Britain.
Great Britain. Oh, and Scotty Simpson is here too. Hey, guys. And cheers, Ken, Andy. That's me. Oh, hi.
Yeah, Andy, that's you, man. Yeah.
Hi, so here's the basics. They all are approaches. They all are approaches.
Sorry, Mad Dog. UK, not Great Britain.
Okay, UK. Sorry about that. Oh, Mulched Mike. I like that. Mulched Mike. I guess he got it from his dad. His dad says Mulched Mike. Cool. Anyway, these are all approaches aimed at producing food in environmentally responsible ways, but they differ in basic principles and practices. I studied all three of them because I'm that kind of way. There's 4 or 5 other kinds as well.
Yeah,
but they all have in common the soil biology. That's the key that all these systems have in common is the key to the soil biology, but the key to it in a slightly different way, right? One way is really scientific, another way is more like metaphysical and has a little bit to do with religion, what you think. And so let me explain to you what sustainable agriculture is, okay? The definition for sustainable agriculture is that it focuses on producing food while maintaining the health of the ecosystem. To me, the ecosystem, of course, is the soil, but you also have to include the trees, the environment, all these other things are part of the ecosystem, right? And it's true. You have to pay attention to the health of the trees, pay attention to which way the wind blows, where the water comes from. It aims to meet current food needs without compromising the ability of future generations to meet theirs. That's what sustainable means. To me, sustainable is exactly the word. It's sustainable. It takes care of itself. It's like you get it going, and before you know it, it just takes care of itself. It says, let the land rest for a year in 7, 1 in 7. That's a good approach.
That's what we used to do up here and we would call it a fallow field, where you wouldn't plant anything for 1 year to allow the stuff to grow up and then put it back into the soil to add the stuff that is necessary for the biology to eat, and live on. But we don't really do that globally very much anymore, is let our fields rest, and we really need to.
So a real sustainable farmer, just say if he had 10 acres, 1 acre, he will rotate that 1 acre and is not laid fallow. Basically, that's where he keeps his cattle there. He will move the cattle there, and they would graze there. They would stay there for that year on and off, right? And they will do the droppings. They would also plant not necessarily native, but different grasses and different things that will grow there to feed the cattle. So I know one person that basically rotated his chicken coop, rotated it around, right? Another person.
Well, I see that a lot on the different homesteading channels that I watch. Is they'll make what they call a chicken tractor, and they'll just every day they'll move it, to the next
A
area.
chicken
Let the
tractor.
chickens eat. Yeah, let the chickens eat, and then keep moving it, and they're
Do the chickens
breaking
drive
up
it?
the crust.
Do the chickens drive it?
I don't know. I don't think they flap their wings quite that hard, but it's like they use it for egg layers. They use it for just what they're going to eat for that year for chickens. But chickens are wonderful. And you look at Gabe Brown, he uses chickens, pigs, cattle, goats, and I think sheep in succession, so that one animal eats the one bunch of vegetation, the next eats the next, etc., and they get that whole cycle going. Like you're always talking about having and adding manure into the compost. Well, that's exactly what Gabe's been doing for decades, and his land and soil is absolutely amazing.
When you think about it, Mother Nature is that way. See, Mother Nature is sustainable. Mother Nature is sustainable. Whatever she does is meant to last, because she goes through these cycles, right? And these cycles, the animals migrate, right? The animals do all those things, and they go from one part of the world to another part of the world on a regular cyclic basis, and they take stuff from one place and do it in another place. It's the same thing with the volcano. The volcano erupting in one place spreads it throughout the earth, and lots of different types of methods of sustaining this system. Like the ocean has a way of transferring stuff around, so that's sustainable. And lots of places are not, like the houses that I take care of, the homes I take care of. They're not sustainable. A certain person that I was talking about just recently says, "Well, your customers are sustainable." No, they're on what do they call it when you life, when you go to the hospital and they give you the needle, you're standing there. What is that called? Life support, right? They're on life support. You take them off that life support, they're going to die. That's not sustainable, right? That's not a sustainable system. That's just, they're on life support. So a lot of these homes that I go to are basically on life support, even the ones that I've been to for 20, 30 years. So I have a customer recently, 20 years, sold his place. And of course, they didn't. The problem I have with these people is that they don't say, "Well, it looks like this because that guy was doing this stuff to it." Oh no! So I try to knock on the door. I leave a little letter saying, "I've been here for 20 years. You may want to talk to me." And the problem is, I look at these trees. The trees are looking at me. Help me! Give me! I'm like, the system that's plugged into them has been taken out. What I do is I'm constantly bringing biology, constantly bringing the minerals together. And people say, "Well, why do you have to do it all the time?" Well, because you're killing them all the time faster than I can bring them back.
Yep.
So that's not sustainable. And so but I really like in my garden, I'm trying to. There's no way I can get it sustainable now, because if I leave it alone, I mean, even with water, right? A sustainable system, you don't have to do anything. Mother Nature waters. But if you're going through a drought, you have to figure out a way to help it be sustainable. So it's nothing really sustainable anymore, because you're still dependent upon us to do something to help it through. That's right. Because if you've thought about it, in a drought, Mother Nature will say, "Okay, what's a drought? Everything's going to die. Sooner or later, it'll come back again," right? Maybe 100 years from now, or whatever the cycle is going to be. So Mother Nature itself is sustainable, but she goes through periods, different properties, different soil, different earth, parts of the earth. They just go boof, not there anymore. The desert, like remember in Northern Africa, that whole thing was a forest, tropical rainforest.
And it's actually they're returning it, Andy. They're actually winning against the Sahara Desert. If people want to do some research, it's the Great Green Wall.
Yeah,
they're actually because they put the riparian forest back along the riverbeds. They're actually seeing the rivers come back, and they're moving back into the Sahara. It's amazing what you can do with a little bit of knowledge and a lot of biology.
And believe it or not, the Chinese are doing the same thing.
Yep.
That's what they're doing. They're spreading out that greenery, and they're planting things that actually hold water, provide moisture, and it's getting greener and greener and greener because they're drying out. They're having a hard time getting water. Yeah. So it's feasible once you understand the Mother Nature's system. You work with it. You work with it to help it become sustainable. There are things about the sustainable feature that I sort of wanted to mention: crop rotation and diversification. Right, that's very important. Soil health management, that would be biology, organic matter, minimal tillage. That's a key there, because you can't destroy the condos they live in and expect them to do any work. And they need the organic matter. We all know that they need to, and the biology and organic matter and all that goes together. Because if you do tillage, you're destroying organic matter, you're destroying the biology. There goes soil health management, right? Yeah. And they do integrated pest management. And so integrated pest management is better step than the way they're doing now. Basically, step 1 through 10, and you're supposed to practice cultural methods of helping the soil, and the step 10 is you can use these chemicals. And the chemical, there's some people who are converting from chemical to organic. They utilize this, but they still have these little lists of chemicals that they use. The chemicals are not as bad as what the chemicals were using before, but they still have a little list. If you're an organic person, you're doing integrated pest management. You don't really use that too much because you're not supposed to use the chemical. I call it advanced integrated pest management. That means you go 1 through 9. If it isn't working, you go back to 1. Right? You see what I'm saying? Because you're doing something wrong. If you're doing all the steps right, then you don't need any kind of pest control, whether organic or otherwise.
That's right. You got healthy plants, and like we've talked about it before, Andy, it's the complex sugars that the pests can't consume, right? And so once your plant is healthy, you don't have to worry about those pests hardly ever coming in, because they can't consume your plant. So they're going to go to another plant that they can consume. It's like a win-win when you really think about, bringing the biology back and bringing the health back, bringing all that material. But Andy, like you've said, in your line of work and where you are, they're taking all that organic material, disposing of it, where the only way to get the health is to have that organic material.
So one of the things, I was at this farm. I just became the head gardener for this farm. I was talking to the guy about the drip system and the watering that they have, and he was saying, I kept saying, "You're overwatering," and he says, "No, it's not the problem. Look at this leaf. Look how it's curled. What's happening to it? We need to spray something on that." It's basically it was a fungus, and it's also a skeletonizer. And I was trying to explain to him, okay, look, it's in the soil, so they water 5 minutes every day. It was watered all the time, because when they were planted, when they did the farm, they hired this company. They dug a hole, stuck it in there, covered it back up again, and then put a drip in there. And then it's like a big container, because clay, super hard. There's no soils. And so I was telling, so if the plants are not getting the food they need, and that's why the bugs and the diseases are attacking them. So we need to make some changes here. Unfortunately, and I'm actually talking to Leighton's. I'm going to have him come out. He's a soil engineer now.
Oh, yes. Yeah,
which
definitely.
Is really
he knows
cool.
What he's talking about.
Because we have to set up a long-term plan, because it's not like next year. I mean, it'd be really cool if I could turn a place. Thank you, Roger. If I could turn a yucky landscape farm into a sustainable farm in a year, I would make the news. I would go, holy cow, what did this guy do, right? And my friend says, just bring lots of soil. I'm going, soil alone is not going to do it. One good rain washes it away.
That's right.
And you have to set up real sustainable system. That means you have to, grow plants that will hold the water. You have to have a way to catch. That's one of the things I liked about. I talk about permaculture in a little bit, because that's one of the things they do that makes permaculture very unique. Bill Morrison, I met him. Okay, and anyway, part of the key features here is reduced chemical use, which is like, you're kidding me, right? So me, I would say, okay, yeah, because this is sustainable is meant to chemical farmers to switch over, and yeah, they do reduce. And I really want to say eliminate chemical use. So this is my fault. I should have said reduce, and in parentheses, really it needs to be eliminated. Now, the word chemical community in organic farming, lots of things are chemical. Human bodies are chemical. Everything's made up of chemicals. So in one way, I figured, okay, but when you say chemical, you really mean chemical pesticides, chemical junk. That's what we're talking about. The word organic is also very misleading because malathion is an organic compound.
Yeah.
So I often tell people organic gardening doesn't really, it should be natural gardening. It should be something that tells you we're not going to use the chemicals. But and here it says reduce chemical use, which is good. Are your thoughts chemicals? Yeah, they're basically.
In a way, because it's a chemical interaction that's firing the synapses. But yeah, like Andy, what you were saying is the chemicals they're talking about is the chemicals being put together, not natural chemicals forced to do certain things. And that's where we got to get rid of those types of chemicals. And organic has been pirated by the chemical companies. You're buying organic fertilizers that are not truly organic fertilizers. They're because calcium is a natural thing, but too much calcium is deadly to something. They're just putting in that much calcium, but calling it organic because it's natural. And I just use calcium as an example, guys.
Okay? That's why you have to buy certified organic, because at least it used to be OMRI. I used to trust them because they would say, well, that's not really organic. This is not, urea is not organic. But one of my favorite companies is MG. You know what that means, right? Don't say it out loud. Huh? MG. M Miracle. Right?
Okay. Go ahead.
They're certified OMRI. I'm going, how does that work? Right?
It works with money. Somebody paid a lot of money to go
for that. And what's interesting too, I said, could you send me some samples of your bags? I would like to see the label. No, we're not going to send you. You of all people are not going to get anything from us because they don't sell it in the stores, and they sell it to organic pot growers.
Yeah,
they're the biggest seller to pot growers now in the world. Okay, let's see. So Serena Norell says, someone scraped my neighbor's lawn, so it's mostly dust now. What should I do to revive it, and when should we do it? That's it. That's really simple. What you want to do is you want to either make compost or get a good source of compost and dump it on there like crazy, but don't just throw it on top. You want to break it into we have the same problem here. People have no soil, just hard clay. They go buy compost. Even if it's the best compost in the world, just throw it on top. It fries there, and the wind blows it away. You come back next month and I thought you put compost here. Well, it went away. So you have
when you're that bad and you have that crust, you have to integrate the material into it. It's once you have a true living soil, then you can put it on top, but then you got to still put something on top of that to hold it in so it doesn't dry out.
Here's the thing, it's Serena that said that. Here's the thing, Serena. You have to ask yourself, why do I need a grass lawn? What is that? Can't you have like a substitute for the lawn? There are lots of native grasses that will grow there, lots of flowers, lots of other things that will do just as well and even better, because that lawn requires a lot of maintenance, watering, all that kind of stuff. If it was my place, I would convert it into a native. I use Carapi over here. It's a great native grass, but you can also do all kinds of seeds. So you would basically break up the soil, throw the seeds down, and cover it with a mixture of compost and seed water. You see the plants will come in with roots. More roots in the ground is what you want. You don't want this lawn stuff. You really want something that will grow and provide more life to the soil. That's the problem with these lawns. It says like monoculture, one thing growing, right? You know what I mean? And I don't know where you're from, but here in California, you have to water like crazy, and then when you get the drought, there goes the lawn. But if you have a variety of plants growing on that area, like you can have a meadow with beautiful flowers and a lot of these flowers. I've been planting medicinal herbs. Herbs grow like crazy, you know.
They're
And
weeds.
they're
Most
weeds,
people
and they just
consider
grow
them
like
weeds.
crazy, right?
Yep.
And so I would look into growing some other things other than a lawn. You want it green? Well, fine. There's lots of mints you can grow. You can have a really beautiful environment instead of having this lawn that you need. See, right? So that's what I would do. I
Serena's
would
got a
just,
question, Andy, and I think it's going to be part of your answer. She says, we also have feral cats and kittens that use my neighbor's lawn as a litter box. What treatments would you recommend to deter them from doing that?
okay, so I've been asked that quite regularly because a lot of people have cats and so forth. They come onto their property, and so believe it or not, there are a bunch of really interesting little things that I've come up with. Uh, I actually went to a place and I set up a motion detector, little hooks up to your hose. It's a motion detector, so when the cats come on, they get watered.
Yeah. They get sprayed. I've seen them for guys setting it up for
There you go.
squirrels,
Serena said it too.
cats, and some of the crazy things people do, and put it on YouTube, of course.
Silly said the same thing too. Motion activated sprinkler system. You see the cat sneaking up, all that they run away. You know, and there are other things that you could use that will deter them in the long run. But I think because you can. I've used one of the things I like about wood vinegar, believe it or not. So wood vinegar has a very unique smell to it. So you can actually spray a little line of wood vinegar around the edge of your property. They'll have to cross that. You can spray almost anything that I've learned to use garlic. It's called garlic barrier. It's like 400 garlic cloves in 1 gallon. You can buy a cold brew coffee, which is a really strong coffee scent. You get the French lavender. They hate the smell. There are a variety of other different kinds of things you could buy that have a really interesting smell to them. That's the key to it. But I love the motion detector because that will definitely keep it, and the deers too. Any creature comes anywhere near it. Even the homeless guy would sit there. Oh, I got it.
Even the homeowner, hey, keep the gardener away. Yeah, just shoot him with the sprinkler.
They would like that because this is how they get a free bath. But in your lawn, what I would do is again plant a meadow, plant a variety of plants, plant a lot of different herbs and other things like that. That would naturally deter them because they need a little place to go poo-poo in. You see what I mean? I have also added a cedar wood, so you can have these wood chips. Seeds are made of cedar. So what I do is you can sprinkle the wood chips down, and then you spray the cedar with either garlic or something to absorb it, right? Or the I really think you should get the wood vinegar because it has a really strong smell, very wonderful. At the same time, you're helping the soil. You can spray the sand with the barren sand with it. It will deter the cats. Don't use anything that would hurt them. When I was young, I used to sprinkle cayenne pepper. I decided wasn't such a good idea. It would damage them, right? It would damage them a lot. I also done the weirdest things. I went to the zoo and I got some elephant poop, put them around their property. The cats would stay away from that for a long time. They're gonna go, what the heck? I did that over here. I went up to Charmley. There are coyotes out there, so I got coyote poop, put them around. That keeps the other creatures from coming around as well. Oh, fellow Earthling, I am not an Earthling. I'm stuck in this here planet. I really am. I'm stuck here, and it's awful. I don't like it. Anyway, moving on to the next one. Oh, we have to do the contest soon. Anyway, here's permaculture. The definition of permaculture. Permaculture is a design system that seeks to create sustainable and self-sufficient agricultural system by mimicking natural ecosystems. I like that. Huh? Yeah. It encompasses not just agriculture, but also the design of entire communities. And I like permaculture. Bill Morrison came up with this really cool idea. Basically, you follow the energy. So you have how energy flows, how water flows, which way the sun travels on your property. And that all those are key important things. And then you look at it year round. what's happening to it year round. And you design it to take advantage of that. So when it rains, you make a way to catch the water, because you know you're going to have this river flowing through it, make a bunch of different, I don't know what you call it, but they catch the water, and let it soak in
Well,
the
a lot of
ground.
people use swales and pits and all kinds of different things to capture and redirect the water to slow the rainwater down from running off of their property and let it soak in more, refilling their property's aquifer. That's how they're getting those rivers to run again, because they're reintroducing the water that does land. And guys, one thing a lot of people don't understand, when you have a plant and you have the dew point in the morning dew actually travels down inside of your plant into your root system, and you can actually water your plants with morning dew if they're healthy enough that the biology grabs that moisture, those molecules, and sucks it down into the soil structure.
So in Peru, they have this morning dew. It's also really bad country, right? Nothing could grow there. So this guy went over there and he basically made a sail out of rope.
Yeah.
And he cranked it up, and then the dew would run down the rope, collect. And you had all this water that we collect. People, where are you getting your water from? From the morning fog. And went and hit the rope and just collected down. So there's lots of really cool ways you can utilize
nature. Special netting now, Andy, that they use in these areas.
Right. That's that really cool idea, because I know that here in Malibu you have a lot of fog. I've often thought maybe I should get something to crank up the sail, and this should help it to catch it, because that's really. But my plants, when there's heavy fog, they're wet. It's like as if it rained. The soil is soaked. The plants are soaked. They're dripping, and it's pure, clean water. And they love that. And so I like doing that myself. But anyway, so what I wrote down, great to learn and use on your farm or local community. That's one of the things that's really good about it to use. And let me show you some of the key features. Of course, you also have the crop rotation. Mother Nature is not very good at planting things in the same way all the time. She never plants anything in a straight line, and she never plants too many of one thing. I mean, we came up with this monoculture growing thing, right? And it's really, imagine if you're a bug, you just go straight down the line, or just see, okay, next. And they all are the same, right? They all are treated the same way. And Mother Nature has, I like the more roots on the ground, but they're not the same plants. You don't never find a group of plants all together. Mother Nature doesn't do that. They have a wide variety. Like in my garden, people keep coming over here. I said, what are you doing? I'm pulling up these weeds. Stop it. Don't touch those. What are you doing? You got to get rid of these weeds. No. And I said, these are part of my garden. They promote, and because a gopher who came the other day who looked at a weed says, no, I'm not going to eat it. I'm going to leave it alone, And some of these weeds grow really nice, and they dig nice roots. They go down on the ground. They hold the water. And then when the fog comes in, guess what? They water their plants. Medicinal plants for the soil. MPFTS. Or it's WMPFTS.
Weeds equal medicinal plants for the soil, and the more weeds. And what a lot of people don't understand is each plant has its own biology that is its core. So if it's a plant that draws calcium up, or a plant that draws phosphorus up, these, what people call weeds, are bringing those up to put those nutrients back into the soil structure and the biology that breaks down those out of your sand, silt, and clay. So the more plants, the more biodiversity you have of biology, the more nutrients your plants are going to have available to them.
One of the things, and that's the basic principle for biodynamic farming, because I actually started Rudolph Steiner. By the way, it is Bill Morrison who started the permaculture. He's dead now, but they still have some of his really good books available that you can follow through, because it's permanent culture. It's another way to say sustainable culture, right? They're saying the same thing. slightly different. Everybody's got a little different take on it. Biodynamic is really unique, but because Rudolf Steiner was a very interesting man. It incorporates. This is the definition. Biodynamic farming is a specific type of organic farming that incorporates spiritual and mystical elements. Originally developed by Rudolf Steiner, it views the farm as a self-contained living organism. This is one of my favorite, because I started doing this really early. I always believed it was a self-contained living the earth is a self-contained living organism. You can't separate them. And it has a lot to do, the mystical elements have a lot to do with energy, right? Energy, how energy is transferred, how energy flows. What is it? Why is it that we eat in the first place? People think it's food. No, it's energy. That's what we talked about. Trace minerals. What do trace minerals really do? They collect cosmic energy that you take into your body. The cosmic rays shoot through the earth in a nanosecond, and they leave behind the fingerprint, which is this cosmic energy. And Rudolf Steiner knew that, and he was very much into transferring this energy to his preparations, because his preparations are really cool. Just like Bach flower remedies, there are preparations that you can utilize the energy, because that's what you're doing. When you're making a preparation, you basically are converting the energy into a system that you can then apply to other plants.
Yeah.
Which is really, really cool. And I really love that. That's why it says deals with energy. And so if we are all energetic beings. And to me, I prefer to do biodynamic any day, but I don't like to separate them. I said we need to come up with one term, right, for everything that basically means everything.
It's all about the biology.
Exactly right. And that's what it comes down to. It's all about the biology, understanding how that Mother Nature has put this unique system together, and it's all intertwined. Remember, we talked about interconnectivity. Yeah. Really cool. Nothing separated from the other one. What you do to one, you basically are affecting all of us. So what we do to my finger, I'm affecting my whole body. I tell people all the time, do you want me to heal your finger? No, I can't ignore your body. You have to deal with your body in order to heal your fingers. They're very, very simple, but people don't get that. They just are, I can't say they're idiots, but there are, Anyway, one of the things I said, incorporate cosmic rhythms, like lunar cycles. One of the things I started reading right away was Old Farmer's Almanac.
Yeah. So Lily gets it every single year.
Right, yeah, and I read it, and I know it by heart now, when it's a good time to plant, when it's below ground, when it's a good time to plant above ground, and they all say the same thing, emphasis on biodiversity and soil health. And so
Andy, it doesn't matter what modality a person is using, whether it's Korean natural farming, all of the different names people use, it's all directed to creating a biologically active and diverse environment. That's where the true health is doing that, but adding all the components in to make that happen. That's where your mulch, your compost, etc. So you're just perfectly portraying what's necessary.
Are we having a contest?
We can have the contest. I figured I'd give them a few more minutes before we start to see how far we get through the slides.
So I did similarity. So environmental focus. All three prioritize sustainability and aim to reduce the negative impacts of conventional agriculture. Soil health. They emphasize the importance of maintaining and improving soil quality. I say emphasize and maintain and improving soil health, soil life, the life of the soil. That's what you want. Biodiversity. Each approach values diverse ecosystem and encourages polyculture over monoculture. And some of the differences, philosophical permaculture, it's about designing systems that mimic nature, while biodynamic farming incorporates spiritual values beliefs through agriculture. And then the practices, sustainable agriculture focuses primarily on practices that can be scientifically validated, whereas permaculture and biodynamic include holistic and sometimes esoteric methods, right? You have to get the stomach of a cow, and how in biodynamic how you clean water. how you make structured water. Well, that's a very esoteric system, because basically what they do is they get a big tub and they turn it one way 1,000 times, one way, and then you turn it the other way. I took it a little to extreme. I said, well, you have to be naked, you have to do it on a full moon, and you have to now while you're turning, you have to go into ecstasy while you're turning it, and then you go the other way. But that's pretty close to what you do to clear the water out. And it turns out the Imogen water, that's what they did to the water, to clean the water out. They basically put their hands around it and they start praying and chanting and send the energy in, and they clean the water up. And so that's very esoteric if you was to look at it from a scientific point of view. A scientific point of view, I was a scientist, I would say, well, that's the result. My job is to figure how they get that. And I don't know how holding your hand did that, so I got to figure that, but I do know that's the result, rather than say, well, it doesn't work. Right? A good scientist would say, well, okay, we have this result. You have to duplicate the result, right? And you can duplicate it. He did it they went to a lake and they did it everywhere. You can duplicate it. So the basis of scientific study is there. If you can duplicate the result, then that's a valid system, even though we don't know how that happens.
Yeah.
Right? We have no idea how this, but it does. You can't duplicate it. And permaculture has a broader application that includes community design, and that's one of the things I like about it, because it approaches common goals of sustainability and equal health, and that's what I like about permaculture, because it's really a community. How can we get this whole community together? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So a farm is like a little miniature community, but in reality, you have a community of farmers. So you can't have a permaculture farmer over here and a chemical farmer over there. That's not going to work. You know, one day you see this fog coming over to your place and dumps your chemicals there. Yeah. So you really have to learn how to expand that community to encompass. Well, ideally, it'd be the whole world. But wouldn't it be nice if everybody was on the same page about sustaining the earth and all that? But it doesn't happen. There's always somebody out there doing the worst thing that they could do to the soil, and it comes right back. It comes It comes right back to us. Yeah. And of course, I got it down to it's all about the biology. Depending upon your nature, you pick what feels more in line with you. I practice all three and more. And I said, tell us in comments which you like. People are going to like different things according to what they feel is good for them. But if I were you, I would take the best of everything and use that, blend it, make your own. Because when people say, what do you study? I said, well, I have my own system that I use. Because all throughout the years, I just take the good thing, the bad stuff, and just throw that away. I'm not going to use that. I only use what I learned that works. For me, it works. And I got down here. The soil biology is the universe of energy. All around the world, many methods have developed, each suited best for their culture. Some apply their religion to farming. They meditate, they pray. Others see it as a sacred, special connection with God. I feel the same way about all these. To me, it's a sacred connection to God. God is in that plant. God is in the little invisible, I call it invisible army, right? God is in the tree. God is in the, when I was a kid, I was Catholic. I was raised Catholic, but I used to go across the street to a Jewish synagogue one day. I'm sitting there, and this rabbi comes and says, my son, what are you doing over here? And I said, well, I like this place. He said, well, go back to your church. And then he says, you shouldn't. It's sacrilege to point your feet at the statue. And I said, show me where I can point my feet that God is in. And he shut up. And I was like 13. I was 13 when I was talking. So to me, and I'm not really, I don't use the terminology religious, but I am really very religious person in the sense that I'm realizing more and more and more. I need to watch the Woodstock that I located you for at the South Tower. All right. It was not a close. No, it was not a close up. I'm the guy that said, come down from the tower. Hello. That was me.
Guys, in case you didn't catch the comment, Lily was watching some documentaries on Woodstock, and Andy was the guy one of the guys hanging off a tower. That's where that went.
I was in the Navy, and then I actually went to Georgia too. They had an Atlanta Pop Festival, so I had leave coming, so I had my Navy outfit. I took him off. I ended up somehow over there. I got to meet what's the name of the guy that plays the guitar? Tall guy. You know what I'm talking about?
Tall guys that played the guitar. Andy, right?
He plays the Star Striped Banner.
Star Spangled Banner. Yeah. Oh, geez.
Lily would know it. Lily, who's that?
Yeah.
Anyway, I met the other lady
Bob
too.
Dylan?
Huh?
Somebody was saying Dylan.
No, it wasn't Dylan. It wasn't Dylan.
Hendrix.
Tall black dude. He plays an amazing Hendrix, right? And Hendrix also had with him that other lady. You know, she's really she has this voice, amazing voice.
Janis
you know
Joplin.
what I'm talking about? Anyway, we got
Janis Joplin.
Janis Joplin, right? Yeah. Janis Joplin. We were sitting down, all three of us, smoking this giant joint. I'm going, holy shit, right? And I was passing out psilocybin mushrooms because I still do it.
Hey, we better stop there and get back on topic, Andy.
Okay, right. Anyway, so let's see. Where was I? I was over here. So the Invisible Gardener knows the honor and gift we have been given. That's me. I know the honor. To me, it's an honor to be able to hold the soil in my hand. It's an honor to be able to honor the earth for what she has given us, you know. So I look at it as very sacred, right? And I'm not going to do any harm to her, because one of the things I tell people, and I've been saying this since 1970, it says, make every day your special garden within and outside. And within and outside, you will see it will grow also. And so I do music called inner gardening, right? Inner gardening, and the other thing I like to tell, let me see if I get this here. Pray, sing, give thanks, be happy, right?
Yeah.
And of course, my favorite thing is, and I'm not going to change it, because I was going to say heal the soil biology and heal yourself, but I like heal the soil and you heal yourself.
And it's the truth. And the thing is, when you're healing the soil, you're healing the biology, because that is the true living soil. Other than that, Andy, you got dirt, like Dr. Elaine Ingham talks about, and you got to get really nasty with the word and go dirt. You know, it's a 4-letter word, where if you've got true living life in that soil, you've got that energy, you've got that regeneration. But that's what you're doing, Andy. That's what you're teaching people and showing people in your line of work. It's very important for those people to come to that realization.
I tell people dirt is what you sweep out your house.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dirt is what you sweep out their house. And people don't seem to understand it that much. And I know I've never met Elaine Ingham. I really like what she's doing.
Yeah.
You know, she had really teaching people a lot, like the Laytons, you know, and they're I don't know, as early as 20 years ago, they weren't around, you know, as far as I'm concerned. You know, I didn't, if they were, I didn't know about. I don't know how long ago Elaine started doing that. I would, in one way, I would not have wanted to be in her class, because I would have been the guy who would keep raising her hand, his hand.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Because I learned my stuff from experience. I've learned from experience how to deal with pests and diseases over and over and over and over again. Because, you know, if you do something and it works, you do something and it works, you do something and it works, you go, well, maybe there's something to that. Maybe there's something to that, right? And so I should stick to what I learned, but I'm always constantly willing to learn more. That's the process. I'm always want to learn more how to grow. And it looks like equalizer right now. What's an equalizer? What is that? Is that like a movie? The guy who goes around beating up people? Are you kidding me? Look here. What's this?
Yes. It's probably an assassin movie. You know, it's Andy the assassin. He's invisible, hiding in the garden. He's about to take you out. Okay.
So, but I've been really lucky in that I got into this in the 6th grade, and I would go to the store and I said, "You got anything good that I can grow? You want some MG?" And I go, "No, I don't want some Miracle." I'm saying it that way so we don't get sued, you know. And I just started organic. I just started on that path. But everybody I know, not everybody, but most people that I run into, they're druggies, both internally with the drugs they take. I mean, just last night I was thinking to myself, we're swimming in a sea of toxins. So I go to a restaurant, right? It's supposed to be an organic restaurant, so the eggs are organic. Now the food wasn't. So my friend says, "Well, tell them to boil the egg, and you're okay." There's one minor detail is the water is toxic. The water is full of chemicals. It's full of so much. If they don't do filtered water, I'm absorbing it through the egg. And sure enough, I got sick just from eating the egg. And you can't get away from all these toxic chemicals. I'm surrounded with cosmic chemicals. When I'm driving, you see this brown stuff everywhere. Brown stuff everywhere. Where's the time machine stash? I'm not telling you that because I have a spaceship, and my spaceship is actually a time machine. Dude, I can send you next show. I'll show you a picture of my spaceship.
Cool. Anybody wants to enter the contest? #invisible. It's running in the background, so we'll draw in a few minutes. But #invisible, and this is to get a copy of Andy's book. So there you go, guys.
I have a real time machine. Like I said, my spaceship is a time machine. And what's interesting, and I can talk to you about time. I can talk to you about all kinds of really cool things. I can show you a formula for the universe. It's a mathematical figure. You know what? You guys should look up fractals, and then on YouTube, write down the formula for the universe. I think it's called Formula for the Universe or Formula for Everything. So I had a dream. I wrote down this formula, and next thing you know, I'm watching YouTube, and the guy says, "This is a formula." Because I like fractals. A fractal, you know what a fractal is? If our
I'm just sorry, Andy. I'm just looking at why it's not collecting the data here, and people are putting in invisible. So I'm not sure.
It's broken. You broke it.
Right. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Man, you don't want to eat mushrooms with me because I'll take you to different dimensions or blow you away. Your consciousness is multi-dimensional. You can go from one dimension to another one. It's really simple. When I deal with Einstein in my dreams. I talk to him all the time in my dreams, and we talk about interdimension, how you can travel from one black hole into another black hole, another dimension. I love watching the multi-universe of the adventures. Where do you think you got that information from, huh? Right?
You keep talking. I'm working off screen here, trying to get this thing to start working here.
So your consciousness is really very interesting because it goes from one dimension to another dimension. I listened to Moody Blues a long time ago. Thinking is the best way to travel. I'm serious. You can go from one part of the universe to another dimension. And it says you don't have to go anywhere because it's right here in front of us, right with us. I read another interesting story about little black holes everywhere, tiny little microscopic black holes. Okay, and so it's really, really interesting too. Because and one of the things I had with the mushrooms is that the mushrooms is a consciousness. The Earth, you're getting in touch with this living being that's as big as the Earth. The mycelium encompasses the whole planet. And so when you're tripping on mushrooms, you're actually listening to the language of the mushroom. The mushroom, I think it was Paul Stamets that calls it the internet of the soil. Okay, right? And it's really, really absolutely amazing. It blows you away. It shows you that I tell people you have the two kinds of consciousness, a small consciousness and a large consciousness. The small one's a drop. The large consciousness is the ocean. Okay, so figure that one out. And you can put the drop back in the ocean, but you're not going to get the drop back out again. You're not going to get the same drop back out again. So that is really cool. You think about all these things, and you end up actually being heavy religious. For example, a fractal, there's a one spot in the fractal that's calm. The rest of it is chaos, and that's exactly the way the universe is. Exactly. So you look up fractals. You look it up on YouTube. Look up Formula for the Universe. This guy's talking about what does a drop, what does all these other things have to do with a fractal or this formula? And everything in your universe, anything you can think of, E equals MC squared. All these things are encompassed in this fractal, in this formula. And this doesn't happen by nature just throwing stuff around. You end up with this formula. See what I mean? It's something happened. Somebody put that together. Somebody did that. And all I can think is maybe a higher consciousness, right? Or some other thing is going on here. Because, I know that there are beings that are like suns. Beings are giant like suns, and they communicate with other suns. and that's really cool. I should say, okay, fine. Do I need to keep talking? Are we did we running out? Get more time?
Well, actually, I just had the first one come up with an entry. Guys, try it again. Like I'm putting in the right thing here, and I don't know if I'm
broken.
That's what I've got is invisible, and I've only showing one entry, so I don't know if it's just lagging, guys, or what's going on, but it's only showing that I think Scotty's got it in there, but yeah, I think it's lagging.
You can't do it again if you already won, right?
Well, yeah, once you put it in, like the same person can't put invisible 20 times and have 20 entries.
No, I mean last show, the show before last. Those guys.
Oh, those guys already won. If they win again, they shouldn't be putting their name in. But yeah, guys, it's well, I'll bring it up and show you guys because we've never had this happen.
Yes, you did, Scotty. You broke it.
See, it's just showing one entry, and you guys have all been putting it in. So I'm not sure what's going on, guys. I don't think we're going to be able to run the contest tonight because it doesn't even give me the draw button.
Okay, let's do this. I can see the chat, man. I've been watching Serena. I've been looking at the chat. Right? Should I have I answered something because I see you. It said that, can you see the chat? Yeah, of course I can. Did you ask the question down there? Because sometimes it goes by so fast I don't see it. But if you ask me again now, right there on the chat, I will answer it. Okay? Because I like talking to people. I really do. It was Serena that wanted to know if I could see the chat. It took me a while. It took me many shows to be able to figure out there's a chat that I can actually watch. Then you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But I'll just give it to Scotty. He says he won.
Okay, so we're gonna give it to Scotty Timmons then.
Yeah, I think he says he won. I win. Give it to me. I take it.
Well, it's not exactly fair because nobody else has the chance. But why
don't we do this? All you guys that put the invisible in, send an email. Tell them the email, and then make sure you have your phone number, and I'll make sure you get it. Because I'm a little bit. By the way, I'm a little backlogged on the was and win because the email comes from a different source. It doesn't come from this thing. I have a box that tells me. I was looking, I didn't see it. The email comes from you, but it doesn't say anything about. It says the contest, and then I finally found it because I get 38,000 emails a day, which is like ridiculous. I made a mistake. I put my email on my website, and it's being sold. And I get tons of emails for mail enhancement. I get tons of emails for senior citizen this and that, or I'm the FBI. You need to, oh my, right.
Oh, hey somebody guys, so we're gonna change the word. We're gonna put #compost
and see what happens.
Let's see if that works. Maybe it's just invisible data. It doesn't want to recognize it. So yeah, compost is working, guys. I can see it coming up. We got 4 entries now. So #compost. We'll give it a couple more minutes. So Andy, I can't put invisible in for you because it's not recognizing it as a proper word. So
yeah, it's has to do with my energy. I think I sapped it. I heard it. But I will send it out to those that gets it. The problem I'm having with Amazon is that they say we need a phone number. Otherwise, they won't send it out.
Okay. So, guys, it's email address, home address, phone number, and you can, if you're a winner, you can just email me at itsallaboutthebiology@gmail.com, and then I forward the information to Andy, and Andy sends you guys the book.
Yeah, there's somebody over here that lives by that name. I don't know where he is. I have a multiple personality disorder. I do.
Well, we've got multiple personalities. Like I figured I'm gonna start wearing green and just talk, but AKA talking head, because that's all you would see would be my head. So
I actually became an ordained minister in 1970. I started a church, believe it or not. And so it was a school of divinity. I teach people divination, which is basically, do readings. I do all kinds of stuff like that. That's my other half. I have about 5 different beings that come through me that I like to channel every once in a while. Very cool. That's how I do the music. My music is pretty cool. I did some really amazing songs recently. I'm not going to post it because they're too weird. It's just like, holy cow, where did that come from, right?
If you guys want to listen to Andy's music, go to soundcloud.com/Invisible Gardener, and you can check out Andy's music there. And he's got some stuff on YouTube as well.
You didn't play the music at the beginning of the show. That's awful.
Well, it's in the intro, Andy. So
I didn't hear it. I didn't hear it anymore. But I have some.
You're just letting it flow through the brain and wiggle the hairs a little bit. What's left there,
Each one of those songs has a bunch of different frequencies that I put into it, and I make it subliminal. That means you don't hear it, but your body hears. Tea leaves. My mom used to be tea leaves. She would do the crystal ball, and she would do all this stuff. She basically taught me, and then she said, "You do it." I said, "Okay." My mother was in Miami, Florida, and so there's lots of things going on over there, and so I got into that. I made my own tarot deck a long time ago to do readings for that, and I do runes. Frontman, I'm a one-man band. Yeah, if you go to my, you would love. I have 900 songs out there. Okay, 900 songs. I think that SoundCloud says if you get to 1,000, they're going to shut me down.
Okay. Well, on that note, maybe we should run the contest before Andy gets shut down.
Yeah. You should do the contest, and then we'll take it from there, man.
Okay, let me bring wrong one. Here we go. Okay, so we've got 7 entries, guys, and we're gonna hit the draw. Of course, Lily and I are both entered, so if we win, we'll just redraw, guys. But let's see. We got Scotty Timmons.
I told you Scotty won. You might as well give it to him. I told you.
Yeah, and he won. Congratulations, Scotty.
I actually did that. I made sure that he got it. It says here, my compost is made up primarily of tea and coffee and have cardboard that hasn't been used cut up in one of the bins. Do I need to add anything else to the compost? I would say so, because you want your compost to be minerally rich. Okay, so you can't depend on the tea and the coffee to get the minerals from. You need to add a source of minerals and also some type of biology to it. So if you don't have any kind of animal manure with the biology in it, you're going to be missing out on the biology. You need the
biology.
And you need the biology, right? People make compost all the time. I get kitchen waste. I add this to it and I add that. If they don't have biology in there, it's not going to be in there. That's why manure is very important when you're making compost. Preferably the right type of manure, because not all manure is the same. Horse manure is not the same as cow manure, right? Rabbit manure is not the same as sheep. So that's what Rudolf Steiner did. He basically will kill a cow, take the stomach, make a mixture inside the stomach, bury that, and that would be his mixture, because he realized that the stomach of the cow has the specific type of biology that you want to use. And then he never really talked about rock dust or minerals, but he would get the minerals from the plants. See, that was his thing, to get the plants, put it together in the stomach, and the biology in the stomach would break down the mineral, and that was his formula for getting the minerals. Because he never really said anything about rock dust, but he really talked about minerals from the plants. You see,
that's how we're supposed to be getting that in our bodies, is from what we eat. Unfortunately, our plants are so malnourished that we're not getting nourished from the plants we're eating.
That's right. That's why I always add minerals, which by the way, C90, SEA 90 is an excellent source of 90 trace minerals. I was watching Barbara Nelson on the YouTube the other day. She says Celtic sea salt has 92 trace minerals in it, right? And there's a couple other salts that have 72 trace minerals. With C90, it's an ancient seabed, salt bed. It has 90 trace minerals in it. So you want to add that to your compost and the biology so they feed. And then your compost will be rich in the right type of minerals in the form that your plants can use it. So the tea and the coffee, usually I use organic coffee because it's rich in iron, rich in other minerals as well. Teas are very good. If they're organic, they have some minerals in it. Not all the 90. You want as many minerals as you get your hands on, because if you're missing out, there's 96 different trace minerals. So even that C90 is still missing 6 of them. And these are the exotic ones you don't get anywhere other than Mother Nature. Mother Nature will find these from the weirdest places. You see what I mean? From the weirdest place. The worm, if you have worms, the worms produces earthworm casting, which has 96 trace minerals. The same thing with certain other biology, certain other type of creatures. The elephant is one of the best, richest manure on the planet. Elephant and earthworms are the 2 richest manure on the planet. 96 trace minerals. Their body, their stomach has a way of the biology just takes those minerals and makes them available. And that's what you need. You got to have all those 96 traits. If you miss 1 or 2, you're going to have some type of disease. Every single time you're going to have some type of disease. It's going to happen. Yeah. And that is the secret, right? It's the secret to making this work. It's the trace minerals. You get as many. That's why I like rock dust. You get a couple of different sources. There are 14 different sources. Why were the plants drunk? They had too much root beer. Okay.
Serena was giving me a hard time. I hadn't read one of her jokes. So, Serena, we really appreciate you and your sense of humor and adding those jokes into the chat. Don't ever hesitate to keep doing it, because, it really brings smiles to people's faces. So,
Serena, I can't bring him up like he does. I'm not allowed to bring him up. I can ask Ken to bring it up for me, but if he doesn't bring it up, I can't. I don't have access to the button that allows me to bring. So we're done, folks. I have no idea what we're talking about next week. What did Muscle say was turned out for a date? Why don't you go out with me? I'm a fungi. Hi, Serena.
I know it can be really corny, but guys, I didn't actually bring up our title for next week's show, but Andy, we always have a great show and a lot of fun.
Come back
channel,
next week,
guys. Nathaniel Graham, one of the people that's in our chat on a regular basis, an amazing mind, is coming on with Leighton on Monday. So you guys are going to want to check that out Monday. And then, of course, Andy and I next Wednesday. But guys, blessings to all of you. Stay safe out there. Have a happy Halloween.
Namaste.
Don't get into too much trouble.
Namaste. Take care now. Bye.
Bye, guys.